All right, so, listeners have sent in some really cool stuff about computer-aided drug design.
CADD?
Yeah, CADD for short.
Yeah.
And it seems like we're going to go on a deep dive into this world of, molecules and algorithms.
Right.
Imagine designing drugs of the future from your computer.
That's the goal.
It's not sci-fi, it's like a reality thanks to CADD.
Yeah.
And so we're going to explore how scientists use this tech to predict a drug's properties, tackle those complex challenges of drug discovery.
Yeah.
And you even included research on those two key approaches,
right.
Small molecule-based and macromolecule-based design.
Exactly.
So there's some pretty interesting concepts in here.
Yeah, for sure.
Like how virtual screening works.
Yeah.
And the story behind this lipophilicity parameter.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Apparently, it's been key in drug design for over a century.
Right.
So let's get started. Ever wished you could, play a video game, where you design, life-saving medicines? Well, get this. Scientists are doing just that with computer-aided drug design.
Right.
CADD for short. It's like building with molecular Legos.
I like that.
You're about to dive into the world of digital labs where algorithms are helping researchers discover the next generation of drugs.
It's not just science fiction.
Yeah.
CADD is revolutionizing how we develop new treatments, making the process faster, cheaper, and more effective.
Wow.
Imagine tackling diseases like Alzheimer's or cancer with custom-designed drugs.
Yeah.
That's the potential we're talking about.
Okay, so let's start our quest to understand how scientists are using computers to create these life-saving treatments.
Okay.
Our sources suggest there are two main paths we can explore.
Yep.
Small molecule design and macromolecule-based design.
Okay.
Where should we begin?
Let's start small. Yeah. Literally. Small molecule drug design is like tweaking a familiar recipe to make it even better.
Okay. Yeah.
We're taking existing drugs and making subtle changes to their structure to improve their effectiveness or reduce side effects. Think of it as fine-tuning a musical instrument to get the perfect sound.
So instead of starting from scratch,
right,
we're building on what we already know works.
Yep.
Our sources mention something called QSR.
Yes.
Quantitative structure-activity relationships.
Right.
What's the deal with that?
QSR is all about finding patterns.
Okay.
Imagine you're trying to predict how well a basketball player will perform based on their height, weight, and shooting percentage.
Yeah.
QSR does something similar for drugs.
Okay.
Using mathematical equations to link a molecule's structure and properties to its biological activity.
So it's like using stats to predict a drug's success before it even hits the court or, the lab.
Right.
Our sources keep mentioning descriptors. Are those like the player stats for molecules?
Exactly. Descriptors are measurable properties that give us clues about how a molecule might behave. Right. Take log P, for example.
Okay.
It tells us how much a molecule prefers hanging out in fats versus water. This is crucial because it affects how easily a drug can travel through your body and reach its target.
Hold on. Are you saying the greasiness of a molecule matters?
Absolutely.
That's kind of surprising.
Take the drug Tamiflu used to treat influenza.
Yeah.
Its effectiveness relies heavily on its ability to dissolve in fats, allowing it to cross cell membranes and attack the virus.
Right.
Researchers used insights from log P to help design Tamiflu, demonstrating just how powerful these descriptors can be.
Wow, that's a real game changer.
Yeah.
So how do scientists actually use these descriptors to design better drugs?
They turn to methods like the Hansch equation and the Free-Wilson method.
Okay.
These are like statistical models that crunch the numbers,
right,
using descriptors to predict how active a drug will be. Think of it as a molecular matchmaking service.
Okay.
Helping scientists find the perfect molecule for the job.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
But our sources also mention a less computery method called the topless approach.
Right.
What is that all about?
Imagine you're trying to solve a maze.
And
at each intersection, you have to choose a path.
Right.
The topless approach is like that for chemists.
Okay.
It's a step-by-step guide that helps them make decisions about how to modify a molecule based on the results of each change.
So it's a more hands-on experimental approach compared to the computational methods.
Yeah.
Now let's switch gears a bit.
Okay.
Our sources also delve into this concept of pharmacophore modeling.
Right.
It sounds almost like detective work.
It kind of is.
Okay.
Imagine you're a detective trying to find a common link between a series of seemingly unrelated crimes. Pharmacophore modeling does something similar for drugs. It's all about identifying the essential structural features that make a drug effective.
So instead of looking at individual molecules, we're trying to find the secret sauce that makes them work.
Right.
But how do we actually find this hidden formula for success?
It's a three-step process.
Okay.
First, we gather intel structural information from known active molecules. Then we analyze that data to pinpoint the shared features.
Okay.
Like specific chemical groups or the distance between them.
Yeah.
Finally, we build a 3D model of this pharmacophore, which serves as a blueprint for designing new drugs.
So it's like creating a wanted poster for the ideal drug molecule.
Yes.
Based on the characteristics of its successful predecessors.
Precisely.
Okay.
A great example is the development of HIV protease inhibitors. Researchers used pharmacophore modeling to identify the crucial structural features needed to block the activity of the HIV protease enzyme.
Yeah.
A key player in the virus's life cycle.
Hold on. You're telling me that by finding common features in existing HIV drugs, scientists were able to create entirely new ones.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's the power of pharmacophore modeling. And it doesn't stop there.
Okay.
Our sources also point to 3D QSR.
Okay.
Which takes things even further.
3D QSR.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Okay.
Give me the lowdown.
Think about it this way.
Okay.
Imagine trying to understand a city just by looking at a flat map. You'd miss out on the skyscrapers, the tunnels, the whole three-dimensional landscape.
Right.
3D QSR adds that extra dimension to drug design, considering the shape and electrostatic interactions of molecules in space.
So instead of just looking at a molecule's flat structure, we're now considering its actual shape and how it interacts with its surroundings.
Exactly.
Okay.
And to do this, scientists use computational techniques like comma F and comma I.
Okay.
These methods generate contour maps, which are like heat maps that highlight the areas of a molecule that are important for binding to its target.
So it's like having a visual guide that tells you where to focus your efforts when designing a new drug?
Yeah.
Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
But we've been talking a lot about small molecules.
Right.
What about the other path you mentioned, the macromolecule-based design?
That's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Instead of modifying existing drugs, we're now focusing on the target itself, the macromolecule, usually a protein that the drug needs to interact with.
Okay, I'm ready to explore this new territory. Lead the way.
Let's go. And think of it like this. If small molecule design is like adjusting a key to fit a lock, macromolecule-based design is like studying the lock itself to figure out the exact shape of the key we need to create.
I see. So instead of tweaking existing keys, we're trying to craft a brand new key from scratch. Perfectly tailored to the lock's intricate design. Our sources mention something called database searching. Is that how we find the blueprint for this custom-made key?
You got it. Imagine having access to a massive digital library filled with millions of different molecular keys. That's what these databases are like.
Wow.
Scientists use them to search for molecules that might fit snugly into the active site of the target protein.
Okay, that sounds impressive.
Yeah.
But wouldn't searching through millions of molecules be like finding a needle in a haystack?
It can be a challenge for sure.
Yeah.
But
how do scientists even begin to narrow down the options?
That's where the fun begins. Scientists use something called docking software.
Docking software.
Imagine it like a virtual reality game where you can test how different molecules fit into the target protein.
I see.
The software simulates those interactions and ranks the molecules based on how well they bind.
So it's like a molecular dating app?
Kind of.
Helping scientists find the perfect match for their target protein. And this approach has actually led to real drug discoveries.
Absolutely. One remarkable example is the discovery of HIV protease inhibitors.
Right.
Which, as you may know, have been instrumental in treating HIV/AIDS.
Yeah.
Scientists use database searching and docking to identify molecules that could effectively block the activity of the HIV protease enzyme.
Wow, that's incredible. It's amazing to see how computational methods like this are having a real impact on people's lives.
It really is.
But what about designing molecules that don't even exist in those databases yet? Our sources talk about this fascinating concept called ligand building.
Okay.
What's that all about?
Ligand building takes us beyond searching for existing molecules.
Great.
It's like stepping into the role of a molecular architect.
Okay.
Where we get to design and build new molecules from the ground up, atom by atom.
Wow, that sounds incredibly complex. Where do we even begin when building a molecule from scratch?
It starts with getting to know the target intimately.
Okay.
We need to analyze the shape and properties of the protein's active site, identifying the key interactions a drug would need to make to bind effectively.
So it's like meticulously studying the blueprints of the lock to figure out the exact specifications of the key we need to build.
That's a great way to put it. Once we have that blueprint, we can use specialized software tools to start piecing together the molecular building blocks.
Okay.
Programs like GRID and MCSS help scientists visualize the active site and guide the construction process.
So it's like using a 3D modeling program, but instead of designing cars or buildings, we're designing molecules that could potentially cure diseases.
Exactly.
That's truly remarkable.
It is. And as our computational power grows and our understanding of molecular interactions deepens, the possibilities for ligand building are endless. We're on the verge of designing drugs with unprecedented precision and effectiveness.
That's an exciting thought.
Yeah.
But we've been focusing a lot on the technical aspects of CADD.
Right.
I'm curious to explore the human side of this field. What are some of the challenges and rewards that scientists face in this line of work?
Well, one of the biggest challenges is dealing with the sheer complexity of biological systems.
Okay.
Proteins are not static entities.
Right.
They're constantly moving and changing shape.
Yeah.
Which can impact how drugs bind to them.
So it's like trying to hit a moving target.
That's a good analogy.
How do scientists account for this dynamic nature of proteins in their CADD models?
That's a great question, and one that researchers are actively addressing. One approach is to incorporate molecular dynamic simulations into the design process.
Okay.
These simulations allow scientists to visualize how proteins move over time, how those movements might affect drug binding.
So instead of just looking at a snapshot of the protein,
Right.
we're creating these mini-movies to see how it behaves in a more realistic way.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It is. But even with these advanced techniques,
Right.
predicting how a drug will behave in a living organism is still a challenge.
Yeah.
There are so many factors to consider, from the drug's absorption and distribution in the body to its metabolism and potential side effects.
I imagine that can be frustrating for researchers who are so passionate about developing new treatments.
It can be at times, but
What keeps them going despite these challenges?
I think it's the drive to make a difference in the world. Most scientists in this field are motivated by a desire to improve human health,
Right.
to alleviate suffering, to find cures for diseases that have plagued us for centuries.
That's incredibly inspiring. It's a reminder that CADD is not just about computers and algorithms. It's about using technology to solve real-world problems and make a positive impact on people's lives.
Exactly. And that sense of purpose is what fuels the countless hours of research.
Yeah.
The setbacks, the breakthroughs, the constant quest for better treatments. It's a field that demands both intellectual rigor and a deep sense of compassion.
Speaking of breakthroughs, our sources highlight some incredible examples of how CADD is already changing the landscape of medicine.
Yeah.
Let's delve into those success stories and see how this technology is making a tangible difference in the fight against disease.
Okay.
Where should we start?
Let's talk about cancer. Current has played a pivotal role in the development of targeted cancer therapies that are revolutionizing how we treat this complex disease.
Wow.
One striking example is the drug imatinib,
Okay.
which is used to treat chronic myeloid leukemia.
I've heard of imatinib. It's considered a breakthrough treatment for this type of cancer.
It is.
How did CADD contribute to its development?
Scientists used CADD to design imatinib to specifically target the BCR-ABL protein, which is responsible for the uncontrolled growth of cancer cells in chronic myeloid leukemia.
Okay.
By blocking the activity of this rogue protein, imatinib can effectively halt the progression of the disease.
So it's like using a guided missile to precisely target and eliminate the cancer cells without harming healthy cells.
Yeah, a good analogy.
That's an incredible level of precision.
It is. And CADD has also been instrumental in the development of other targeted cancer therapies, including drugs that block angiogenesis.
Angiogenesis?
Yeah, the process of new blood vessel formation that tumors need to grow and spread.
Wow, so CADD is helping us fight cancer on multiple fronts.
It is.
That's really impressive.
Yeah.
But cancer is just one of many diseases that CADD is tackling.
Right.
What other areas of medicine are benefiting from this technology?
Well, another area where CADD is making significant strides is in the development of antiviral drugs.
For antiviral drugs.
As we've seen with the HIV protease inhibitors, CADD can be a powerful tool in the fight against viral infections.
So we're talking about drugs for things like the flu, hepatitis C, and even potentially new viruses that might emerge in the future.
Exactly. CADD allows us to rapidly screen vast libraries of molecules to find those that can effectively inhibit viral replication. This speed is critical in responding to outbreaks and pandemics, where time is of the essence.
That's absolutely crucial in today's world where new viruses seem to be emerging all the time.
It is.
CADD is giving us a powerful weapon in our arsenal to combat these threats.
A powerful weapon, for sure.
And it's not just about responding to existing threats.
Right.
CADD is also helping us prepare for future challenges by designing drugs that can target a broad spectrum of viruses, even those we haven't encountered yet.
Exactly.
That's incredible. So CADD is not just about treating diseases. It's about anticipating future health threats and developing solutions before they even arise.
That's a good way to put it.
I'm blown away by the potential of CADD. It seems like this technology is limited only by our imagination.
I agree.
But as with any powerful tool, there must be ethical considerations that come into play.
Of course.
How are scientists ensuring that CADD is used responsibly and for the benefit of humanity?
That's an incredibly important question. As CADD becomes increasingly sophisticated and its applications expand, it's crucial that we have open and honest conversations about the ethical implications of this technology.
So it's not just about what we can do with CADD, but what we should do.
Exactly. We need to carefully consider the potential risks and benefits of every new drug or treatment developed with the help of CADD. We need to ensure that these advancements are accessible to everyone who needs them, regardless of their background or socioeconomic status.
That's a crucial point. We need to ensure that CADD is used to create a more equitable and just healthcare system.
I agree.
Not one that exacerbates existing disparities.
Right. And we need to be mindful of the potential for unintended consequences. As with any new technology, there's always a risk that it could be misused or that our predictions might not always be accurate.
So it's about proceeding with caution, constantly evaluating the impact of our actions. And being willing to adapt and course correct as needed.
Exactly. We need to approach CADD with the sense of humility, recognizing that we don't have all the answers and that there's always more to learn.
That's a valuable perspective. It seems like the future of CADD hinges not just on technological advancements, but on our ability to use this technology wisely and ethically.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The future of CADD is ultimately in our hands. It's up to us to ensure that this powerful tool is used to create a healthier and more equitable world for all.
Well said. But we've been talking a lot about the medical applications of CADD. I'm curious to explore how this technology is making waves in other fields beyond drug discovery. What can you tell me about that?
Well, for starters, CADD is making significant inroads in material science.
Material science.
Yeah, imagine designing new materials with properties tailored for specific applications.
So instead of designing drugs to interact with proteins, we're designing molecules to interact with other molecules to create new materials with specific functions.
Exactly. And CADD can help predict how different molecules will interact and assemble to form materials with desired properties.
It's like using CADD to build things from the molecular level up.
That's a great way to put it.
That opens up a whole world of possibilities.
It does. CADD was being used to design everything from lighter and stronger building materials to more efficient solar panels and even self-healing materials that can repair themselves when damaged.
That's incredible. It seems like CADD is blurring the lines between science fiction and reality.
It is. And the applications of CADD in material science are only just beginning to be explored. We're on the cusp of a materials revolution driven by the power of computation and our growing understanding of molecular interactions.
That's an exciting thought.
Yeah.
But we've also got sources pointing to CADD making a difference in environmental science. That seems like a completely different direction. How is CADD being applied there?
Well, as you know, the world is facing some serious environmental challenges. From climate change and pollution to dwindling natural resources. CADD is emerging as a powerful tool in our efforts to address these issues.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Give me some examples of how CADD is being used to tackle environmental problems.
For starters, CADD is being used to design more efficient and sustainable catalysts for industrial processes. These catalysts can help reduce energy consumption and minimize waste, making industries cleaner and more environmentally friendly.
So CAD is helping us create a greener and more sustainable chemical industry.
Exactly.
That's a huge step in the right direction.
It is, and it doesn't stop there. CAD is also being used to design new materials for carbon capture and storage, a crucial technology for mitigating climate change.
So we're talking about using CAD to develop materials that can effectively suck carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere.
Precisely. And CAD is also being used to design biodegradable plastics that break down naturally in the environment, reducing plastic pollution and its harmful impacts on ecosystems.
Wow. It seems like there's no limit to the ways CAD can be applied to solve real-world problems.
It's an incredibly versatile tool.
It's truly a remarkable technology with the potential to transform our world for the better.
It really is. It really is remarkable how CAD is weaving itself into so many aspects of our lives.
It is.
But as with any powerful tool, there are challenges and limitations that researchers are constantly grappling with.
Okay, let's talk about those challenges. Our sources hint at some pretty complex hurdles that scientists are facing in this field. What are some of the biggest roadblocks in CAD research?
One of the biggest challenges is capturing the sheer complexity of biological systems in our computer models. You know, living organisms are incredibly intricate, with countless molecules interacting in ways we're only beginning to understand.
It's like trying to simulate an entire ecosystem in a computer. Right?
That's a good analogy.
There are just so many variables and interconnected elements.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And trying to model those interactions accurately is a massive undertaking.
I can imagine.
For example, proteins, which are often the targets of drugs, aren't static entities. They're constantly moving and changing shape, which can affect how drugs bind to them.
So it's not just about finding a molecule that fits into a static binding site. It's about understanding how that interaction might change over time as the protein moves and flexes.
Precisely.
Okay.
That dynamic aspect of proteins is incredibly difficult to capture in our models. We're constantly developing new computational techniques to better represent the flexibility and fluidity of biological systems.
It sounds like computer researchers need to be as much artists as they are scientists.
Yeah.
Constantly refining their models to create a more realistic representation of life at the molecular level.
That's a great way to put it. There's definitely an element of creativity and intuition involved in CAD research. But it's not just about the complexity of biological systems. Another challenge is the sheer volume of data that CAD generates.
Ah, yes. The data deluge. We hear about that in so many fields these days.
Yeah, it's a common problem.
How is big data impacting CAD research?
Well, CAD experiments can produce mountains of data, and making sense of it all can be overwhelming. We need sophisticated data analysis techniques and powerful computers to sift through all that information and extract meaningful insights.
So it's not just about crunching numbers. It's about finding the signal in the noise.
Exactly.
Wow.
And that requires a combination of computational skills, biological knowledge, and a bit of detective work. CAD researchers need to be able to see patterns and connections that might not be immediately obvious.
It sounds like a fascinating but demanding field. Our sources mention the role of artificial intelligence or AI in tackling these challenges. How is AI changing the game in CAD research?
AI is revolutionizing many fields, and CAD is no exception. AI algorithms can analyze massive data sets, identify patterns, and make predictions much faster than humans can.
So it's like having a superpowered research assistant that can help scientists sift through mountains of data and point them in the right direction.
That's a great analogy. AI is already being used to accelerate drug discovery, optimize lead compounds, and even design entirely new molecules from scratch.
Wow, that's incredible. It seems like AI is poised to become an indispensable tool in CAD research.
It really does.
But with all this talk of computers and algorithms, I'm curious to bring it back to the human element. What are some of the intangible qualities that make a successful CAD researcher?
Well, first and foremost, you need a deep passion for science and a desire to make a difference in the world. CAD research is challenging and often involves long hours and setbacks.
So it takes a certain level of grit and determination to persevere.
But it's not just about hard work. It's about creativity, curiosity, and the ability to think outside the box. CAD researchers need to be able to come up with new ideas, challenge existing paradigms, and embrace the unknown.
It sounds like a field that attracts those who are both analytical and imaginative.
Yeah.
Who can see the beauty and complexity in the molecular world.
Exactly. And it also requires a collaborative spirit.
Okay.
CADD research is rarely a solo endeavor.
Right.
It involves working with teams of scientists from different disciplines, sharing ideas and learning from each other.
So it's about bringing together the best minds to tackle some of the most complex challenges facing humanity.
Precisely.
Okay.
And that collaborative spirit is what drives innovation and progress in CADD research.
This has been an incredible journey into the world of CADD.
It has.
We've explored the science, the technology,
the challenges and the triumphs.
Yeah.
But I think what stands out most is the human element, the passion, the ingenuity, and the unwavering commitment to improving human health and creating a more sustainable future.
I couldn't agree more. CADD is ultimately a story about human potential.
Right.
And our capacity to use knowledge and technology to solve real-world problems.
Yeah.
It's a field that's full of promise and possibility. And I'm incredibly excited to see what the future holds.
Me too.
Yeah.
And for our listener, I hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity and inspired you to learn more about this amazing field that's shaping our world.
It is an amazing field.
Who knows? Maybe one day you'll be part of the next generation of CADD researchers.
Yeah.
Pushing the boundaries of what's possible and creating a brighter future for us all.
That's the beauty of science.
Right.
It's a never-ending journey of discovery, and everyone has the potential to contribute. Well said. And on that note, we'll wrap up this episode of The Deep Dive. Thanks for joining us on this exploration of CADD. Until next time, keep those minds curious and those imaginations sparked.